If you own or work for a winery or craft distillery, you're likely spending money on Facebook and Instagram ads, but you may not be getting the sales results that you want, and this video is for you. The great coach Pat Riley, NBA coach Pat Riley, said the best way to win is to not lose. And I've got 5 reasons that your wine ads, spirits ads on Facebook and Instagram aren't working. So you own a winery or a craft distillery. You make a great product. Your packaging is stunning. Your website is user-friendly, mobile-friendly, ready to receive visitors. You have a nice social media presence. Maybe you've convinced a few distributors in a few states to carry your product. Maybe you even have a salesperson on staff. Well, welcome to the starting line, because none of those things are going to make much of a difference because you're competing against tens of thousands of wineries and craft distilleries that have the same thing. None of those things are going to differentiate you. But never fear, thanks to the infinitely scalable world of digital advertising, you can move the needle on your sales, but only if you do it right. And I hope these 5 common mistakes, if you avoid them, you're going to have a lot more success. And I would love to hear in the comments below what you think about these things, and maybe I've missed something that you want to add. So the first reason your wine ads on Facebook, your spirits ads on Facebook aren't working is because you make your brand the hero of the story instead of the customer. Now, this is an easy trap to fall into because we think the key to advertising is to get our brand in front of as many people as often as possible. In the same way that digital photography transformed the way professional photographers make money because overnight it made everyone a professional photographer, we see the same thing in digital advertising. Just because you can advertise from your desk on Facebook and Instagram doesn't mean you're doing it right. It doesn't mean you understand how advertising really works. And advertisements, A, should not look like an ad, and B, they should tell a story. And the hero of that story is your customer, not your brand. So what role does your brand play? Your role plays the brand of the guide that helps that customer get what they want. This is a huge mistake that people make, putting their brand as the center, the hero of the story. Now, there's a fairly easy fix for this. I highly recommend you get your hands on a copy of this book as soon as possible and start reading it or listening to the content. Because until you learn to make the customer the hero of the story and deeply understand what they want, and then position your brand as the guide that helps them get what they want, until you do that, you're going to waste a tremendous amount of money and time trying to sell your products. Now, I see a lot of wine ads on Facebook and Instagram that look like ads. This is a huge mistake. Ads that look like ads are pretty much worthless. People just scroll on by. You've got to get yourself out of this trap. And if you're working with an agency that's recommending that your advertisements look like advertisements, you've got the wrong agency. At least for the wine and spirits industry, that's never going to work. As a side note, I see a lot of social feeds where the focus of just about every post is the brand itself or the winery or the distillery facility. Every single post. Posts that self-promote are just adding noise to the fiercely competitive and crowded wine and spirits market. I know it seems like the right way to sell, but I assure you it's not. When prospective customers scroll through the social feeds or see your wine ads on Facebook, they need to see themselves in the script of your posts and your ads. Now, the second reason you're not getting great sales results from your Facebook and Instagram ads is the audience you're targeting is way too broad. To optimize the return on ad spend for your wine ads on Facebook and Instagram, you have to give Facebook's algorithm the opportunity to do what it does best, which is find your target audience. So if you stack too many interests together in a more is more approach, you're robbing yourself of this incredibly powerful algorithm that could be finding your target customers. You have to restrain yourself and use a less is more approach. What I recommend is you pick one or two interests that are complementary. Perhaps maybe modify it with a third interest that's unrelated, like household income or job title or something like that. This will keep the audience size down so where Facebook's algorithm can do its work. Now, luckily, when you're building an ad in Facebook, it will show you the size of the audience as you add interests in that section of the ad building process. So you want to keep an eye on that. Ideally, you want to stay around that 50,000, 100,000-ish area. I've seen ads where they're targeting 6 or 8 million people with a dozen different interests. How in the world is Facebook's algorithm going to figure out who it is you're targeting? You have to use a less is more approach. This is just way, way better than just spraying and praying and aiming for everyone. It's just not going to work ever. Failure to understand and utilize the Facebook algorithm will cause you to waste a lot of money. You see, Facebook puts the burden of choosing the right audience on the advertiser. If the advertiser doesn't know how to target correctly, Facebook still gets the money. So don't fall into this trap. Now, one of the best ways to find the right audience is to test a lot of different small audiences. For example, you might start with a list of your most engaged email subscribers. You export that to a CSV file, you upload it to your Facebook Ads Manager, and you save it as a custom audience. You can then expand that audience if you'd like by creating a lookalike audience from it, but keep your lookalike audience small. Choose the 1% option, look to see how big it is, and that's generally enough. So this approach of testing is creating several different custom audiences with content you already have, with contacts that you already have, and lookalike audience from them. Put those in the list of audiences you're going to test. Test a combination. That's called a warm audience because you already know those people. Use a combination of warm audiences and cold audiences. Cold audiences where you just pick an interest like Cabernet Sauvignon and they like Food and Wine magazine and they're in the top 5% income. That would be a good cold audience, just those three interests, and leave it at that. So test a lot of different audiences. So you'll use the same image, the same ad copy, the same headline to start the test, but you'll test 3 or 4 different audiences. Give it 3 or 4 days for Facebook's algorithm to optimize and see which audience performs the best. I can't tell you how many times I've witnessed winery and distillery brands, their agencies aren't doing any testing at all. They just put together what they think is a nice ad. They put a bunch of money on it. They let it run for 5 or 6 days. This is not an effective use of your advertising dollars by any means. The third reason that your Facebook and Instagram ads aren't working, boy, this is so common, it's insane. The third reason is you overestimate your ability to convert social fans and followers to paying customers. People spend a lot of time and money curating their social feeds, and that's fine, it's important. But the number of fans and followers you have has little to do with how much product you sell. And posting alone, no matter how often or consistently you do it, will just not get you there. Converting fans to purchasers is a completely different ball of wax than acquiring fans on social media. People don't go to Facebook and Instagram to shop or to buy, nor do they use these platforms for research. That's what Google is for and Amazon is for. Just because someone likes your Facebook and Instagram page does not mean they'll ever buy anything from you. So do not overestimate your ability to convert those fans and followers to paying customers. This is a completely different ball of wax, which I'm going to talk about right now. Now, don't misunderstand me. It is essential to spend time curating your social feeds. So whatever you're doing now that's working, keep doing it. This is not an either-or situation. You use your social feeds to build brand awareness and engagement with your customers, but you use your advertising for a completely different purpose, which is to enroll people onto your email list. In point number 4, in a second, I'm going to talk about how to do that. But I want you to understand the distinction between curating your social feeds and then running ads to get people to opt into your email list. Now, I'm not talking about using email newsletters to sell. Newsletters really are kind of an old school way of using email marketing. I'm going to put a couple of links in the description for a deeper dive on this topic. But when I talk about email, I like to say that you advertise. You advertise to bring people in. You use email to nurture and sell to them. This is a foreign concept for a lot of people, and it's a foreign concept to a lot of agencies. I know because I study what agencies are doing in the wine and spirits business, and it's just a lot of brand awareness and not a lot of lead generation. I'm going to talk about lead generation next. Generating leads, nurturing leads, building trust, building a relationship, because the sale is a byproduct of a much larger relationship. People don't go to Facebook, see a buy now button, and buy. That hardly ever happens. And if you're spending money on that strategy, you're going to be very disappointed. Okay, so the fourth reason your Facebook and Instagram ads aren't working, aren't helping you sell more product, is because you're utilizing a push strategy when what works best is a pull strategy. You use your wine ads on Facebook and Instagram to draw in email subscribers and use your email marketing skills to sell. The way you do this is by switching from a buy now call to action or shop now call to action, which is never going to work. You change that to a different objective. When you launch your Facebook ad, you should choose a lead ad as the ad type, where you give something in value in exchange for the first name and email address. This is called a lead magnet, and once you start paying attention to lead magnets, you'll see them everywhere on Facebook and Instagram. Well, wineries and craft distilleries can do this too. Find out who your customer is, research what it is they want, create lead magnets that educate them, entertain them, bring them deeper into your brand story, offer them something of value that they will happily give you their first name and email address to get their hands on whatever it is. It could be a recipe guide, it could be a purchasing guide, it could be a guide for this, a guide for that, guides, checklists. I have more content on lead generation. I have a ton of content on lead generation, so I'll put some links in the description below. Be sure to check those out. It's all free. But a great way to waste a lot of money on Facebook and Instagram ads, and I see this every day, is to use a spray and pray approach. The best way to convert potential buyers to paying customers is to draw them towards you using a pull strategy, lead generation, by giving them what they want. So to get this right, you got to do two things extremely well. One, you got to nail down your audience targeting, as I mentioned earlier. You got to nail that down, and the way you nail it down is with a lot of testing. And you also have to craft compelling messages tailored specifically to that audience. Now, this is not rocket science, but it does take some time. And if you need help, I suggest several different books on copywriting that will help you so much, beginning with the book that I mentioned earlier called StoryBrand. So you've got to invest in this because it's the only way you're going to take your advertising dollars and turn it into sales, is by getting the right message in front of the right audience at the right time. That's the key, using a pull strategy instead of a push strategy. Look, a surefire way to miss the mark is to make this relationship too much about you. You've got to focus on the customer, find out what they want, and give it to them. And then as you build trust in a relationship, the sales will naturally follow. So let me talk just a little bit more about lead generation. Lead generation should be the primary focus of your advertising dollars, not getting people to click shop now or buy now. Some of them may click it, but they're not going to convert to sales because they don't know you and you haven't earned their trust and built a relationship. I'm going to repeat this often. You find and attract with your wine ads, but you sell using email marketing. Now, your success in digital sales is in direct proportion to how well you're able to grow your email list. If you had an email list in the thousands with a very high open rate, that's how you know if they're engaged, you can use that as a tool to sell, to put offers in front of people, take advantage of seasonality, Mother's Day, holidays, whatever. You have to have the patience to use this two-part process. Spend your advertising dollars to find and attract and enroll people. Use your email marketing to nurture and sell. This is the winning strategy. Trust me. Now, if you want to check out more info on how to create effective lead gen campaigns, I suggest you check out one of my online courses called Leveraging Facebook Lead Ads. It's one of our most popular and inexpensive courses. If you want more convincing before spending the money, then check out a free webinar recording that I have. I'll put a link in the description. Look for free webinar lead generation, and that is free. So if you don't want to part with the $200, watch the free version. It'll take a little longer, but whatever you want to do. The whole push versus pull idea is another reason why boosting posts is such a horrible idea. Because you're just pushing your post using a more is more approach, thinking if I could just get more people to see this, they would react. The problem is this is not very targeting. The level of intention is extremely low. It's quite random. And so why does Facebook do it? Because the burden's on you to figure out that it's a waste of money. They're going to take your money. They've made it so easy. You just push one button and you boost the post. Don't do it. Don't make that mistake. It's foolish. It's amateurish. The fifth and final reason your Facebook and Instagram ads aren't working, aren't selling for you, is you are too impatient. Look, it is critical that Facebook advertisers understand this is a long-term game. You know, the advertising professionals of old understood this. Like I said earlier, the digital age has made all of us advertising experts. Anyone can advertise. But to do it right, you've got to take a longer view. You must see this as taking customers on a journey. They don't know about you. They find out about you. You draw them closer to you with lead magnets. You nurture them through email, and eventually you sell. You must look at it this way. You cannot speed up that process. It's like the law of the harvest. It's the law of nature. You cannot rush it. Look to romantic relationships as an example. You just can't rush things, and neither should you try to rush it with your Facebook advertising. You might have an urgency to sell a lot of stuff, but that is not how you're going to get your customers to buy. A crucial part of Facebook and Instagram advertising requires patience is testing. I mentioned this earlier. Lots and lots of testing. Take images, for example. You have an image and you just fall in love with it. We all tend to breathe our own exhaust. We all love our own ideas. But you will never know if that picture is going to work until you test it. So what we like to do is recommend you test 3 or 4 different audiences, take the winning audiences, and then test 3 or 4 different images, take the winning audience and the winning images, test different headlines. Believe me, this stuff works. So don't be impatient and do lots of testing. So often advertisers will construct ad campaigns that they feel will be successful or that they feel is on brand. Well, you know, the average customer doesn't really care what's on brand. They're looking for something, and if you don't give it to them, they're just going to keep scrolling. So if you combine audience research and insights with your messaging, you're going to find the right people. So don't fall in love with your own ideas, but you never really know what people respond to until you test them. So I think I've beat that topic to death. So what should you test? Everything. Audiences, image, ad copy, and headline. Test, test, test. You'll see a huge difference in the results. I want to say just a couple more things about having patience and testing, etc. When you stick to a rigorous testing process, you'll see how small changes can make a big difference in your ad results. Most people miss those opportunities because they're just spraying and praying, throwing it out there to see what happens. I mean, think about this. In the U.S. alone, there's 68 million people who like wine. 68 million. They're not all going to like your wine. How do you narrow that down to the people who are most likely to like your wine? Testing. That is the key. Don't skip this step. Don't be so impatient that you skip over the testing, because it's a difference maker. So as I'm wrapping up here, I want to just say that wine ads for Facebook and Instagram are both art and science. When advertisers learn to fully understand and leverage the power of the advertising there on Facebook and Instagram, they're able to optimize the return on ad spend. You have to understand it before you can optimize it. Too many wineries and distilleries focus on the art and not the science of the wine ads. They focus on the picture. So much emphasis put on the image that you're using. And again, you have to test it to know if it's working. So it's not art or science, it's both. You need to optimize both. At the end of the day, advertisers must acknowledge that you find and attract with Facebook ads, but you sell with email. So stop trying to sell with your Facebook and Instagram ads. This one mental shift could absolutely transform your results. We've seen it. We've helped clients do it. It's a game changer. So keep in mind these strategies work equally well for pursuing consumers as trade buyers. This idea of lead magnets for trade buyers is just completely underutilized in our industry, and I have a lot of content about that. In fact, if you're really serious on this, pursuing trade buyers with your Facebook and Instagram advertising, I highly recommend you take my free online masterclass. It's 1 hour. I'll put a link right in the description below. Check out this 1 hour video. I promise you are going to be glad that you did. So hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and thank you for your time today.